In the small town of Eldridge, there was a legend about the Hollow Man, a figure who appeared only once every 50 years. He was said to be neither living nor dead, but something in between, a creature that took the form of a man but lacked a soul, a hollow shell. No one knew where he came from, but they all knew what he did: he took someone with him. On the eve of his expected return, a group of teenagers, Alex, Ben, Clara, and Jess, decided to challenge the myth. They gathered at the old abandoned factory on the edge of town, where the Hollow Man was last seen. The factory had long been left to rot, its metal beams twisted and broken, with walls covered in strange symbols no one could decipher. As midnight approached, the air grew thick and cold, and an unsettling silence fell over the group. Even the insects and animals seemed to vanish. Jess was the first to notice the figure in the distance. He stood at the edge of the factory's shadow, still and silent. His face was hidden by the brim of an old hat, and his body was shrouded in a long coat. The Hollow Man. Ben, ever the skeptic, laughed. "It's just some guy trying to scare us," he said. But when they tried to approach, the figure didn't move. Instead, the shadows around him seemed to grow darker, creeping closer to the group. Clara's voice shook. "We should go." But it was too late. The Hollow Man raised his head, revealing a face that was smooth, featureless, completely blank. No eyes, no mouth, just a void where a face should be. The factory walls groaned, and the strange symbols seemed to pulse with an eerie light. Alex tried to run, but his legs felt heavy, like something was pulling him back. Ben yelled at him to snap out of it, but Alex's eyes were wide with terror, locked on the Hollow Man. He wasn't running because he couldn't, his shadow was being pulled away from him, stretching toward the Hollow Man. One by one, the shadows began to move on their own, dragged across the ground toward the figure, as if being consumed by the darkness itself. Jess screamed as her shadow broke free and vanished into the Hollow Man's coat. When it was gone, so was her voice. She could no longer speak, her breath stolen along with her shadow. Panic set in as they realized they couldn't escape. Ben grabbed Clara's hand, but the shadows continued their relentless pull. The Hollow Man was closer now, his blank face turned toward each of them as if deciding who to take. And then it was over. The next morning, search parties found the group lying in the factory, cold and unconscious. Alex, Ben, and Clara woke up disoriented, unable to remember what had happened after they saw the figure. But Jess was never found. The townspeople whispered that the Hollow Man had claimed his victim, just as he always did. The legend would live on, and in 50 years, he would return again, looking for the next soul to fill his emptiness. And somewhere in the shadows of Eldridge, Jess's shadow still wandered, searching for the voice that had been taken from her.